Everybody I've ever known in my entire life have always had an ID. Mm-hmm. But you know, according to Georgia, if you ain't got an ID, then you ain't black.
You ain't black.
And you ain't black.
You ain't lying about that, Goldie. What is going on with this Georgia situation? I mean, it's a soft bigotry of low expectations all over again, saying that basically black people don't know how to get an ID again. We're going through this again. Deja vu.
According to the White House, this is Jim Crow on steroids.
Right.
And this is like Jim Eagle.
Yeah. Not according to the White House. It's according to Jim Crow Joe that it's Jim Crow laws. Yeah. Jim Crow Joe. Talking about Jim Crow laws. That's what it is.
Also, at what point can we stop saying that this is the soft bigotry of low expectations and call it hard bigotry?
Yeah, I love it.
It's actually insulting.
No, it's real.
Yeah. Like, it's just plain old insulting.
It's insulting, and it's just another indication of how the Democrats innately see black people. They see us as crippled. They see us as literally disabled.
Right.
They have to think for us because we can't think for ourselves.
Cannot. It's a white savior complex of these white liberals thinking that they have to do everything for us. I mean, look at the way that they're talking about us.
Thank you.
And the whole country is like, the whole country as far as liberalism is getting behind this. Yeah. They're trying to say that we are incompetent, that we don't know how to do for ourselves, that we don't know how to go to the daggone DMV, stand in line and get an ID card. Are you kidding me?
Well, I can't lie. Like, I don't want to stand in line. So
I mean, they got online registration. They got everything. I challenge anybody to come up with a situation or a scenario where it is even possible to where a black person couldn't get an ID. Right. Because I don't believe getting or obtaining an ID can be tied to any specific group. It can't be tied to race. It can't be tied to your income. No matter. You even have homeless people of all nationalities that have an ID because that's how they receive their benefits. Right?
Now, I know for me, I need my ID when I get on the airline and come here. I need that. Like,
Thank you.
Is that not racist? Am I going to go to the ticket counter and say, "Oh, you're being racist because you're requiring an ID from me"? How dare you?
Well, and also don't forget, this was the premise under which we justified Obama phones. We justified public paid for internet access because people need access to the internet to be able to register to vote. And then now, once they've gotten the massive expansion of welfare programs, they're coming back and saying, oh, well, using those welfare programs is racist.
Right.
Thank you.
Exactly. It's literally, we got fleeced for a bunch of extra money, told we're racist if we don't give out the money for Obama phones. But then the second you say, well, everybody has a phone, so everybody can call in and register, now you're called racist.
Right. But what's even more ridiculous is the fact that now you have major corporations that are jumping on this bandwagon and calling this law, which is just crazy. They're calling it racist, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to show that corporations actually have more power than the people, than the voting people, even more power than the government. Why are corporations dictating how voting laws should go? You have Delta getting behind it, MLB getting behind it. This is crazy.
This is insane.
Get an ID and vote or don't vote.
Well, and actually, we didn't talk about this in show prep, but it has a lot to do with what Clarence Thomas said about technology companies actually becoming a parallel governance now. We have a parallel government now of woke corporations that can do a better job of enforcing wokeness than the U.S. government ever could.
Exactly. You got it.
Because we're finally starting to get actually some civil disobedience against the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That is very true.
My whole aspect of this is that it's just the ignorance of it. It's like I don't want to respond to it because it's like, now Candace Owens talks about it all the time and she's always beating the horn on this specific topic. I know that we have to address it because we combat the narrative, but isn't this common sense?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a certain point where I'm like, this is common sense.
But like they say, common sense ain't common for everybody.
No, it's really not.
Definitely ain't common for Democrats.
They say that common sense is so uncommon as to be classified as a daggone superpower. And I agree. We all have superpowers.
It's a talent.
It really is. It's a skill. You have to learn it. It's like street smarts. Everybody can be book smart and they can get straight A's, but you tell them to sweep and they sweep on the wrong side of the broom. You know the broom where... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? No, I'm talking about the front part of the broom.
Right.
Like you have to be at the top. But then they like switch it and they're doing the bottom part of the broom and they're sweeping and I'm like, do you know how to sweep? And it's like, yeah, I've done it when I was 8 years old. And I'm like you ain't street smart.
It's like what did Will Smith say in iRobot? You are the smartest dumb person I've ever met. And that's what it is. You meet these smart, dumb people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so and for the average people, I know what they're doing on the higher level. Yeah. On the higher level, they're doing it in a sophisticated approach to change the narrative, and I get all that from the standpoint. But like people on the ground that actually believe this, it's just like, wow, you really have to learn common sense. It's really a trait. It's really a skill that you have to be a part of it.
Since we're still talking about the Georgia law, like, do you guys want to see the clip of Ben Carson?
Let's play it.
I mean, because I really think we just at some point need to start asking, okay, you say it's racist. What is racist about it?
What's your reaction to Rich Lowry's piece and to those sound bites that you just heard?
I think Rich Lowry is right on target. And it's very sad that some of our leaders, and particularly the leader of the free world, would be involved in disseminating information that is untrue. I wonder if these
we got to pause for 1 second while Ben Carson is talking. Is it just me, or does he literally just put you to sleep no matter what he's saying?
Well, I'll be real with you. Right now.
A very calming, psychologist way of talking.
Now, I'm going to be real with you right now because this is a very touchy subject. When it comes to black people, there's two different sides of Ben Carson. And I'm going to be real with both sides, okay? Yeah. He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about. He's a good guy on the good side, but from black people, there's two different perspectives. Yeah. It's like, yes, he's doing a great job, great, and then the other ones are like, this guy talks very white. I mean, like the whitest person I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry, but that's just the two comparisons about this guy.
He's the Bob Ross of politics, okay? He's the Bob Ross. Let him paint his picture. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's see what he has to say. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm saying he's talking. He speaks like a white guy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying black people are like, there's certain black people like, bro, like spice it up a little bit, you know, get a little slang in there.
Yeah, my boy, man.
Sorry, I just had to do it.
The man talks the way he talks. Come on.
I had to do it.
Okay, Ben.
Let it roll.
Let's see what Ben has to say.
Actually understand history. Do they know what Jim Crow laws actually were? They were a mechanism to diminish the rights that many blacks had gained during Reconstruction.
Even Marshall McCallum is trying to stay away.
And the things that people went through in those days were horrendous.
Yeah, we get the gist. Okay, so
major corporations are actually influencing people on how to feel.
Next time I want to work a grave shift, I'm going to put on this clip. At 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's what you don't want to do during a grave shift. Because you're going to fall asleep.
Hold on. I didn't finish my thought. I didn't finish my thought. I said, next time I have a grave, I'm going to put that clip on, and I'm at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's going to give me a nap before I go to work. Right. I promise you. And I'm sorry. I love you, Ben Carson. I love you to death, bro. You're a real one.
I think this is the first time in one of our shows where we literally stopped a clip because we thought it was so boring.
We can't get to that.
I like what he said about Jim Crow, because what it is when it comes to Jim Crow, and this is what people are comparing it to. This is what people in the White House are comparing it to, Jim Crow. This is not, and to do that is doing racism back in the day a disservice. All the civil rights acts and things of that nature that came about, they're doing it a disservice to sit here and say that this is Jim Crow. And I hate when they diminish the efficacy of what we did and what we stood against when it comes to Jim Crow. I hate when they do this, man.
And we know what it is. It's just the Democrats. They don't want a free, fair election with IDs, with all that. So they turn it around, and of course, like they did in the big steal, right? The big switch, right? They point the blame and point at you and say that you are the bad person, or you are the racist, or this is a racist thing. When in actuality, everybody can go to DMV, everybody can get an ID, and it's a tactic to say, well, bad man over here, that's why we're doing this. Or bad man over there, that's why we're doing this. So at the end of the day, I think when it comes to this, they are really the Jim Crow pushers. And speaking of Jim Crow, how about back then when there was Jim Crow, we need to start actually having civil disobedience.
Civil disobedience.
And, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to things that we know is unconstitutional. Right? Yeah. So there's a clip.
If the people stand up, then they can't do it.
And so I saw a clip last week about people pushing out health officials that are coming into businesses and they're trying to cite them. And you know, I saw this clip, it went viral, and I loved it because I thought in the back of my head, I was like, you know what, this is it. This is the answer. This is a point where if they come in and they want to shut you down, like we recently we're going on with Tin Horn Flats here in Los Angeles, another business that went viral. They're civilly disobeding because they understand that it's not about one business. It's about you cannot dictate.
But the trend seems to be that these people and the health officials, they're literally acting like sick dogs, you know, because they're going after certain small businesses. Right. You don't see them going into the McDonald's.
You don't see them do that at the Costco
and getting their code violations.
Oh no, they don't want to take on Walmart.
No, they don't want to take on Walmart. Their violations.
They want to take over mom and pop.
Exactly.
Shops
even though mom and pop shops have more of ability to actually enforce 6 feet, wear a mask, hand sanitizer. Walmarts can't do that. You got hundreds and thousands of people in a Walmart. You can't control that, but you can control someone. Hey, 10 people at a time. Oh, you can't come in because we still have 5 people. They can go through these laws.
They probably feel that they can intimidate these owners,
and that's what they do.
Well, if
they probably have a high probability of some owners probably do. Concede just and go ahead and just
Well, if we watch this clip, I mean, Kick sent us a really interesting clip. Let's take a look at it really fast.
Now, I saw another one prior that was actually that went viral. This is another one I think I saw.
Yeah, I'll try and pull up the other one. This one though blew my mind. If you look at this, we'll turn the volume up. You can see here's the guy in his mask. That's obviously the inspector. Okay, and then this dude with no mask on has started recording him. And these two are starting to go after the person behind the calendar. The counter. And then this guy with the beard looking all Duck Dynasty, you know what I'm saying, decides that he's going to intervene a little bit.
So I would really highly suggest that you read that sign in full.
We're here to talk to you.
No, and I'm here to talk to you too.
That's fine.
But see, you can't prey on weak people, okay? And I'm not one of those people. So listen here. No, you listen to me.
I love it.
There's an unlawful order here.
You can't prey on weak people.
I love that.
But I'm not weak.
I'm not one of those people. And then look at him. Look at the fat dude. Just like, no, shut up. He's like, no, you shut up and listen to me.
I love that.
This is savage.
Yeah.
So then leave. You're trespassing. Leave before I phone the police.
Phone the police?
I'll phone the police. You're trespassing.
They have a liquor license.
You're trespassing.
They have a liquor
You're not
license.
welcome here.
Obligated to
But you're not welcome here.
Get out.
You're not welcome here.
Uprising. Yes. That's what we need. One spark. It just takes one spark. That's it.
Dude, so what happens ultimately at the end of this, man?
Well, I know what the other clip that I saw, it was another one where health officials came in and they saw it was a restaurant owner. They tried to cite him for something. The whole restaurant pretty much supported and backed that business. It looks like this one's possibly the same. And you can see how they're now pushing these people out.
But look, it's all because that one guy decided to finally raise his voice and say this is BS.
Because he's saying what everybody's thinking. It just takes
it's
one
a BS order in the first place. A violation.
Yeah, and by the way, you bring up a really, really good point. Kick. I have yet to see them try in a McDonald's.
Come on.
I have yet to see them try.
Well, that was a Lucas idea. That was
Starbucks.
Lucas brought that one.
Lucas.
Yeah. I backed him up on that one.
Well, you bet. Alley-oop.
Yeah. Give him that assist.
Thank you for throwing that over here, Lucas. I appreciate that. I'll finish that one.
Right.
Yeah, no, but it's just I see that and I understand, and I think we all understand. We're all thinking the same thing, but not a lot of us are vocal about it. And then this symbolizes that one person that actually has the balls to say, what, screw it.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, it takes one.
That's it.
And I'm gonna take this over to Lucas, but I just want people to remember that the actual term from Bug's Life. Remember, it's so iconic. He says, once one ant stands up, then they all might.
And it's an army. And an army, you can't stop that, right?
No, you
I remember the saying that you got 5 fingers, but individually they're much weaker than when you.
Did you just quote the socialist fist?
Right.
Yeah, you just got.
I wasn't aware of that connection. But you got a lot of people standing up, right? A lot of people are using their common sense when it comes to this daggone vaccine. Now let's talk about this because it's always been a thing in the black community that the black community is just suspicious of it. Because,
Oh yeah, remember syphilis?
Why
remember
is
that
it
whole syphilis
not
incident?
only the syphilis,
Yeah.
but why is it always that the government somehow, well, the Democrat government somehow finds a reason to where black people should get it first? They're literally saying that we should get it first because we're the most susceptible to it, so we should get in line
No,
first.
we have the lowest population.
Come
in
on and
America.
get in
That's
line,
why.
black
They
people.
always try to do, and then they always try to get these prominent black people. They just had a little
Oh,
ad
my
with
God.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman pushing
Morgan
it.
Freeman, he said, if you trust me, this is what he
Man.
said, if you trust me.
Why would I trust you?
I don't trust you.
You're an actor.
Exactly. You're acting right now.
I trust you to
He
like
is God.
deliver your lines.
Well,
I
that's-
trust you to like hit your mark and
That's it.
do a good movie.
That's it. But he's going off of the fact that he's God. That he played. No, excuse me.
He
I'm
played
sorry.
God.
He played God.
dude,
And he
look,
got
You know
that
what
go
I'm
to
saying?
his head.
You know, you can say that like
I can't lie. He's the best voice when it comes to playing God. I
He
mean,
got his voiceover game on
if
point.
we find someone else that has
Yeah.
a great voice, then I mean, we'll retire him. But
So
Yeah,
they made a
don't
good
forget,
choice,
like,
right? So they made a good choice with
yeah.
going with
we
him.
were
good puppet.
arguing about whether Jesus was a black man and he was actually a first century Israeli. But let me tell you, Morgan Freeman, I think, is going down as history.
no,
In Evan Almighty.
Yes.
He is
And
God.
Bruce Almighty too.
So Jesus may
He
not have
plays
been a
God.
black man,
He plays
but,
God.
Plays
but
God.
straight up God is.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
But you see how they did that? They got a man who played God
And
to
not-
try to go and play God with the black community.
Ooh, damn.
Come
Ooh,
on, man. They
Hulk,
getting
slow
a lot of
down.
people. I'm about to Hulk smash this
They
thing
been
right
getting
now.
it's
a
getting
lot of
hot over
people.
here.
a lot of black celebrities have been touting this vaccine and saying that it's safe, and it's basically like they're steering the reins. Look at me, I
Come
got
on.
it, so you can trust me.
Come on.
Do you know one thing, right? Everybody know that DMX just passed away. Rest in power.
That one hit me.
But his family is actually speaking out. They said that the news, TMZ and the fake corporate news, they ran with the story immediately that his heart attack was due to a drug overdose. You know, because of his drug history. But his family spoke out and said he did not have a drug overdose. That in fact, he took the vaccine a week before his sudden heart attack. And that the reason why he took the vaccine is because he was pressured into taking it so he can perform and travel and get back on the stage again.
How many more
But they
black
won't
people-
even cover it. If you just look up DMX's death, they're just making it seem like a druggie had a drug overdose.
Oh, what do you know here? You know what I'm saying? But yet and still, I mean, how many more black people need to die? I mean, how many more people need to die from... Okay, yes, they won't say it was complications from the vaccine, but when they take this vaccine and all of a sudden a couple weeks later they die,
Yeah.
I can put two and two together pretty well.
Well, and we've been putting those two and two together
Yes, sir.
to get money from COVID. If you had any kind, if you had one of the 2.6 pre-existing conditions of everything from diabetes to crippling depression to obesity, and you died within a month of any kind of COVID
Automatic
diagnosis,
COVID.
you were taking
COVID death.
that
Yeah.
45 grand, and it was called a COVID death.
Yes.
Yet
Yep.
the second somebody wants to say, I think my dad passed away from a crippling illness that he got from adverse reactions to a vaccine.
Conspiracy
Right.
Now
theorist.
you're a conspiracy
A
theorist.
conspiracy theory. But Cardon, what about the other woman who died about a week ago, Midwin Charles? Now she was a former MSNBC and CNN legal analyst, and she was a lawyer doing her thing. Right?
Tell it.
She's 47 years old and drops dead.
Well,
Nobody is talking about the fact that she posted on her Twitter on March 1st,
Right.
that I got the vaccine.
Yep.
And here we go. A month later, she drops dead. A healthy 47-year-old woman.
Yeah, we're
Seems to
seeing
be
these
happening
cases
a lot lately.
We're seeing these cases develop, and we've all understood that when it comes to something that is created in warp speed, right?
Yeah.
That skips animal trials.
Yep.
And now they're basically doing the trials on the public. And coming from a person that actually has seen a family member pass away due to something like this, then we see these cases and we could talk about it, but it's a difference when someone actually knows it and lived it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, from a person in my perspective, it's happening.
It's kind of
been
scary
happening,
because-
and you know what? There's a large group of people that it's been happening to prior, and no one really gives media coverage. But this is on a wide scale. It's going to be
Do
epidemic.
you
now
all
at
know
this
anybody
point.
personally that has taken the vaccine?
No.
Because I know people that has
Yeah,
personally
I do.
taken
Really?
it. And
Wait,
I hate to say it,
Wait, Cardon, did you say you took it?
but
I said I
I'm
know
looking at
people
these
that
people
have.
and I'm watching the wait for side effects. I'm like watching an ear to fall off or necrosis to happen, or I mean, I don't wish bad things on anybody, of course, but I'm just waiting with bated breath
Well,
almost
go ahead.
to see.
think about how nefarious this is. Okay, think about how really nefarious this is, that the media is not covering something that could be potentially hazardous for the general public. People are dying. Okay, after taking this vaccine. Now, you better believe that this was something that was under the Trump administration. If this was something that was going on and Trump was president and he was pushing this particular vaccine on a consistent basis and people started dropping dead, you better believe they would.
And not only are they dropping dead, they're still catching COVID. Did you guys hear about, it was a high number of like over 100 cases of vaccinated people that still caught COVID.
Here we go.
And died.
Yep, just like
and it does have
so
to do
it's not
with
even
the fact,
a vaccination.
Yeah, and it does have to do with the fact that we have a Democrat president. I mean, look at this right now.
Yes.
DC Drain posts this, all right? And he brings up a good point. He says, Black Americans are avoiding the COVID vaccine at record rates. Now Democrats want to mandate vaccine passports in blue states, which could disproportionately exclude Black Americans from stores, concerts, and travels. Had George Bush been president, and said, as part of the Patriot Act, we are going to enact vaccine passports
for Black people.
Disproportionately, I mean, for all people. But there would be a million leftist think tanks that would say, this vaccine passport is going to disproportionately affect the Black community, especially in Black cities and blue states. Therefore, it is a racist law. Therefore, we need to get rid of it.
I just had an epiphany. You're so right.
Well,
you're so right because
you just had that
epiphany. They talk about it's so racist because Black people can't get IDs. So then what? We can't get vaccination passports
either.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about it. But you know what?
We can't get. Wait, hold on. So we cannot get passports though. So why are they pushing for vaccine passports? Because that's racist against us.
That's just racist.
But you know what? Like just the other day, I actually posted a perspective on my account about saying that I do take a vaccine. I actually am not an anti-vaxxer, right? And I went on and some people was like, oh shit.
That was
like,
a great post, by the way.
You got me in the beginning. But I take vaccines every day, right? I feel like healthy people do. And I was saying I took a dose of my my zinc, my turmeric, and activated with black pepper, organic
I prefer if you call it African-American pepper. We don't use
African-American pepper. Well, now that's getting it because it could be Negro pepper. Some people.
Colored pepper.
Colored pepper.
I'm going to exclude myself from this conversation.
I was going to say you alone are responsible for what you say on the show.
Hey, some people feel that, but hey. Like, the thing is, we are not anti-vaxxers.
Thank you.
I'm just pro-natural vaccine.
Yeah.
And it's pro-choice. Like, why does vaccine has to even be political? Why does it have to be associated with any certain group?
Well,
why can't it just be a choice?
Don't forget, these are the people that are calling you a conspiracy theorist. Like, I mean,
wow.
You always have to remember the people calling you a conspiracy theorist for saying, I'm adverse to taking a vaccine for a disease that I feel I will survive with a 99.9% chance of survival.
Right.
And besides, I'm healthy as a horse. I see you drinking your celery juice.
Come on now.
In here.
Exactly.
Come on now.
And taking your zinc and everything.
Right here.
Come on. You bring it bada boom, bada bam, bam, baby. Yes, sir.
Exactly. So it's like, I look at you and you're like, you're probably not going to get a disease. Yet the people calling you insane literally walk into Whole Foods.
You got it.
Like that.
And by the way, they would say that she's not doing enough because she's not triple masked.
Exactly.
And she's probably like that. And she probably is like that in her car when she drives.
Don't get me started on these
windows
people.
Up.
Don't get me started on those people, man.
And now I wanted to touch on this really fast before we segue on, right? Have you guys noticed that during the entire pandemic, all of the professionals, the CDCs that we're supposed to listen to, the quack Faucis and every medical expert, not once did they advise the American people to build your immune system.
Thank you.
Not once. When you went to the grocery stores, it was the baking aisle that was selling out of shelves. The produce wasn't selling out. It was amazing to me that people were stocking up on toilet tissue.
Come on,
but the fruit and produce
well, that's not a questionable thing. We all know why, because the pharmaceutical industry is literally a lobbyist for government and for news entities. Right. That's the reason why every time you got on the news, next thing you know, your next commercial is a pharmaceutical commercial.
So check it. It was literally saying this: don't protect your own health.
Come
and
on
don't
now.
think for yourself and eat healthy.
Yeah.
Put your life and health in our hands.
In our
the
hands.
pharmaceutical company.
Yes, you got it.
We're here to save you.
I had this conversation with another gentleman on his podcast, and we were talking about this very thing, about how they did not promote healthy lifestyle, healthy living. They didn't promote you going out there and going to the gym and building yourself up and keeping yourself healthy and staving off certain conditions like heart attacks and diabetes.
Yes.
They didn't say go out there and get some whole foods and you know.
Actually,
exchange.
They actually promoted literally the opposite. They promoted things to weaken the immune system.
Thank you.
Well, I would
Staying
say,
inside and quarantining and not getting sun, being anti-social, which we all know happiness creates the endorphins. All of that is
man.
healthy
Come
for
on
you.
now.
Triple and double masking, breathing in your own CO2.
And
They literally promoted things that are anti-immune.
And the
need
one
you to preach
thing,
that.
and the one thing that one person that actually was trying to promote, they demonized and attacked. And
You got it.
Who was it?
You got it.
Who was it?
Who was it black lady? The black lady?
Well, not just her, but there's a multiple doctors that did do that.
Oh,
that was
the
censorship.
panel.
But the main person that was the president of the United States.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was going to jump in and say,
Number
Orange
45.
Man bad.
Yeah,
Hydroxychloroquine
yeah. I
bad.
admit that panel was
promoting
Oh yeah, the
healthy
panel of
lifestyles.
they got censored and demonized real bad.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the thing that bothers me is okay, we can show all of these articles where, Rogan or Handley points out that, this really should be a liberal view of how a vaccine passport would hurt the black community. And we can look and joke about the people that are calling us conspiracies theorists, look like this. But at the end of the day, it's not just African Americans.
Nope.
3 in 10 white evangelicals now don't want to take the vaccine.
It's
right?
people who just want to make a choice for
Yeah.
themselves.
So here, let's see what they got.
There needs to be more than 3 to 10.
My body, my choice. I love that. Right?
I'm faithful. God's going to take care of me. And I guess what I would hope they might consider is that maybe a vaccine is part of God's plan for how you're going to take care of yourself.
God's plan. They bringing God into a man-made vaccine. Now that's the evil agenda right there.
Come on.
That's satanic.
Come
How
on.
you gonna bring God into a man-made experimental vaccine?
Don't bring God into this mess.
Come on.
You kidding me right
But now finally men can say my body, my choice now.
My body, my
Everybody can say my body, my choice.
You know
No
what I'm saying?
thank you on the vaccine.
Yeah, no immune system, no choice.
What was the name of that?
I would say God's involved, though. I would say God's involved because God said we are free human beings, and that's what comes with our God-given rights, right? God-given rights.
Come on now.
It's not the United States given rights.
Come on now.
It's God-given rights.
Not Peter.
And I don't.
Buttigieg
And I'm.
rights.
It ain't
not
Hope's.
Dr. Fauci.
It ain't Kick's God-given rights.
Come
It
on
ain't
now.
Hope's God-given rights. God gave us these rights.
Hey, what was the name of that movie where the actress from Fried Green Tomatoes found the hiker, and every time she nursed him back to health, and every time he almost got healthy enough to escape, she re-broke the bones in his body. So she had
that
to nurse
was
him back. What movie was that?
That was that.
Sally Fields.
Oh, what was that?
No, I don't remember the name. But let's listen to this one more time. And doesn't this sound like something she would say?
Sometimes I've heard people I care about saying, if I'm faithful, God's going to take care of me. And I guess what I would hope they might consider is that maybe a vaccine is part of God's plan for how you're going to take care of yourself.
Don't you see some horror
thank you.
movie
Yes.
like serial killer saying
Right before they inject you.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you hear before you block out.
God wants this. Go see him.
Yes.
like I could literally see her as she's about to break the leg.
Yes.
Maybe this is part of God's plan that you were sent here for me to nurse you to health as I
Bam! Crack!
Now that was like a Kathy Bates misery moment.
Yes. Misery. Yes.
Yeah.
Misery. That's what. Yes.
Misery.
Yes. Yes.
Would crack his leg.
Goodness
That's
gracious.
funny. That's funny.
I wonder how BLM feel about the vaccine.
Oh, don't get me started on Miss Patrice Colors, okay? Co-founder of BLM just bought herself a nice sized piece of property. 1.4 was it $1.4 million home?
Being a social activist is
I
the
guess
new
it pays.
millionaire.
I guess
Pays off.
it pays.
That's like, man.
Well, and it wasn't just the house though, dude.
She has a real estate portfolio that expands the entire United States. She bought a $400,000 ranch in Georgia. She bought a $1.4 million 2-home,
in a predominantly white
white
Yep.
Topanga Canyon
Yep.
near Malibu. And she has a portfolio in Nassau, Bahamas, next to the likes of Tiger Woods.
Well, I mean,
Well, it's not just that.
She's living it up.
straight
Living
got
the
a
dream.
TV deal. She's got a TV
Oh, the
deal.
TV deal. Let's go.
And she's in Hollywood now.
so let me get this straight. She, along with a bunch of
Other
witchcraft,
Marxists.
her and a bunch of Marxist witchcraft, IFO worshipping witchcraft African
Terrorists.
terrorists. Thank you for adding terrorists.
Yes.
Literally made the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Then moved with pushing forward their agenda while black men die.
You got it.
All the money got funneled through Act Blue.
Come on.
It went to Democratic candidates, none to black communities.
Yes.
And the rest that is now, after the election's over and done with, now goes to this.
Yeah.
And nothing against lesbians, but I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the two lesbian Marxists
'cause they hate men.
that
'Cause they
were
hate men.
pushing to move men out
Liberals
of the home.
hate men. They
Yes.
hate a lot of liberals hate men. You know, you see the agenda. You see the women on the streets.
Now,
They're
what I would love to
pro-abortion. They're anti-man. Nuclear family. You know, it's just
I kind of find it interesting. All of this
There we go.
white person bad. White man, white woman bad. You
thank
are
you.
terrible.
Well, that's the BLM narrative.
The BLM narrative, the entire BLM narrative,
into
white
power.
person bad, and guess where she moves?
straight to the
Just
white people.
has-
Can you?
exactly.
I wonder if
to
she'll
the
invite
white
her neighbors to the barbecue.
Hey,
they get
you know why?
invited.
You know why she moved to the white neighborhoods? You want to know why? Because the next time she provokes another riot, her house is not going to be in the black
You
neighborhoods.
got it.
But here's the thing.
Oh, my
why,
goodness.
But why
Oh,
wouldn't
my
they use
goodness.
that money, right, and get a house for some of the homeless children or for some of the
Well,
homeless
here's the
people in
deal. If
community?
you
Of course
look
they're
at
not
the
gonna do
article,
Why
it.
not get
They're
a
leftists.
community center?
On
Why not build more parks in the neighborhoods that are afflicted by gun violence?
On average, Christians and conservatives donate more than usually leftists. So of course they're not going to do that. They're going to buy $1 million portfolios of real estate.
Wait,
Yes.
but hold on. You brought up a really good point, Lucas. If we go back and look at this article, the buyer, according to the Dirt, is Patrice Con-Kollers, right, in Topanga Canyon, which, as you say, is a predominantly white and extremely wealthy part of Los Angeles, for $1.4 million, which sounds like a lot in the Midwest, but is actually just normal wealthy here, not uber wealthy, just
Right.
normal wealthy.
That's a little on the low.
And it's got a third of an acre with a 2-bathroom plus 1 bed
Yeah,
and
back
1 bath
house.
guest house.
Yeah.
She's got a guest house. So
She has a
next
guest
time
house.
there's somebody that's showing up homeless as a quote, largely decentralized movement, you can see right here, that's been on the influential forefront of many of these issues. And as the founder of Black Lives Matter, here's the big question. Years from now, when one of these big now celebrities of a crime or of white supremacy goes homeless, will she be the first to put him up in the guest house?
I want to
bring
know.
up a good
I want
point
to know.
because
I
we
want to
have-
know. I just want to know if she's going to put illegal immigrants that are coming across the
Yeah.
border.
Come
Is
on
she gonna
now.
do that too?
Probably.
Come on
What?
now.
That's
You
the
think so?
sanctuary house, actually.
Yeah.
That's the sanctuary house. But
She can't complain
She's a
about
Democrat.
kids in cages
I would
when she's
also-
got a guest house.
Yeah, she is a
on.
I would
Democrat.
also like to commission Black Lives Matter, right? The local Chicago chapter. My brother is going through a paternity battle right now where the DCFS is illegally trying to kidnap his kids from him. That's what we calling it right now. This is very nefarious because the uncle who has custody of the kids is under investigation for sexual assault. Right now, you know how they always going after the kids.
Yeah.
The DCFS wants this uncle who's under investigation to choose where the kids go. When you have the father who's there, the father and his family who can take care of the kids.
Wow, yes.
But DCFS wants to place the kids specifically in foster care.
we go.
BLM, we need you to step up and help these black kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
You'll be hearing
of course
from
they're
us.
not going to do that.
Of course not.
They're only reactionary. They only do things to, say that the white person's bad. But when it comes to actually standing up for black people,
Yeah.
black on black crime,
Things that really matter. in
things
the
that
black
actually
community.
matter. I got to speak on something that Kick said. It's kind of funny how she moved to an all white area with not with black people
Because she doesn't want riots to happen in her
Exactly.
neighborhood.
Exactly.
She knows the next person that's black, she's going to go forward and she wants black cities to burn.
But guess who else did this?
Who?
This was Lori Lightfoot. Remember, you can burn all on the outside and the outskirts and all these other places, but you better not come to my neighborhood. I'm gonna have police on
Lined
my
up
block.
protecting
Hey,
her.
same
got
thing,
it.
same thing with Maxine Waters.
Come
she
on
has
now.
a very beautiful home, but she does incite violence and taking on the orange man bad.
You
And
see?
if you see them in a gas station, if you see
push
them at a
back
grocery
on
store,
You get in their face.
yeah.
you get in their face, you
give
push
them
back.
hell.
Back on
Oh
them
my
and you
gosh,
tell them they're
I
not
looked
welcome
this
here.
up. According to the Block Club in Chicago, you're right.
Logan
Lori
Square.
Lightfoot
Yeah.
on why she chose to live in Logan Square.
Well, her wife is white.
This ain't so bad,
Right.
man.
And it's always the black Democrats telling you to hate white men, and they're married to white people and white husbands and white wives.
Don Lemon.
Yeah, Don Lemon. He got his freaking white husband talking about white people.
Kamala Harris.
People. Come on, Kamala Harris.
No, Kamala Harris is not black. Let's not put her in that category.
That's true.
Sorry, I had to give a correction there.
That's true.
Okay, so our last topic today. Our last topic.
No, I'm pseudo black. I'm light skinned. I'm not Indian. Okay,
Light skinned it.
I'm not Kamala Harris. She's Indian. All right.
So, you were talking. I mean, because you have to go here pretty soon. MAGA, as you know, the in-house celebrity that we have on tap. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else is flying any of us else out anywhere. How do you feel about United? Are you flying United?
You won't catch me dead. Well, if I do fly United in the near future, you probably will catch me dead with what's going on right now in this foolishness, man. Don't even get me started.
They didn't even offer the best rates to begin with.
Wait a minute. Do I have to change my flight now? Because I literally booked a flight and I think... Oh, Lord, I got to check that.
Now. The United Airlines has said that by, I think it was 2030, they want to hire 5,000 more pilots. But they're going to guarantee that 50% of them are going to be people, people of color, women, all those types. Now, here's my
diversity training.
Diversity training. Now, I'm all about getting there in one piece. Right. I don't care if it was Honey Boo Boo. Pilot. I don't care if it was Honey Boo Boo flying me around. If she can take me off and land
forgot about Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, Miss Honey Boo Boo, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
I want to the rescue, baby. I don't care who it is. I just want you to be competent enough to do the job. Obviously, the current block of people who's been hired are competent enough to do the job.
Thank you.
If you got to lower the standards,
please don't lower the standards because I find it hard to believe that black pilots who go through the training in the school and they pass in their equivalent, I find it hard to believe that they can't find a job. If you're qualified, you're going to get hired.
I mean, in liberal ideology, they believe that if a black pilot's flying a plane, they might get pulled over by the rest of the flight.
Pulled over by air traffic control. You know what? You were going too fast here.
Pull over.
So what that is, FWB, flying while black. It's not DWB. You gotta
imagine the plane that has the that's black and white with the lights and the siren. Yeah. Pull over. I know you're on California. I know you're from California, going to New York. Fly in Dallas. I need you to land in Texas because you're flying.
The mud flaps on your airplane are too short.
Because you're flying while black. You're flying while black. You got to pull over right now.
Flying while black.
This is what I can't stand about liberals. They're willing to put lives in danger to appear woke.
Please don't lower the standards.
Don't lower the standards for me to be able to fly in the
That's insulting.
Plane.
Why you got to lower the standards for black pilots?
Exactly.
I mean,
if we're not making a cut, it's for us to raise our bar or raise our standards as people, as opposed to them lowering their standards so we can be able to be admitted.
And here's the last thing I'll say on this. There has not been a historical discrimination against women in piloting.
Thank you.
Because it's not something that has required an insane amount of upper body strength. You know, it's not something where there's been a massive difference. It's been, you got to go to flight school. Kids with military training actually have, some kind of advantage there. But it's not like, it was the all men's club and women weren't allowed to get in. And I'm worried if they really do this and then just usher in a bunch of potentially and most likely underqualified women, like when the military tried to say, we're going merit-based, and so we're doing strength training exercises. And then guess what happened? All of the women were failing because they don't have the same bone density, they don't have the same upper body strength. The first time there's a crash...
biologically. I mean,
they could put back feminism 30 years if the second there's a crash from a female pilot that was proven to have been passed through tests that previously had to be passed and were generally passed by all her male counterparts. It's going to make it look like feminism just killed 500 people in a car crash because they did a gender-based pass-fail hiring exam instead of a merit-based hiring exam.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like the same
point.
thing when it comes to firefighters. You know,
Right,
if
right,
you're not strong
yes.
enough to pull a person out of a building, then don't hire a woman just because she's a woman.
It's that simple.
You know, but
It's
you
that
know what?
simple.
United Airlines, they say you got to lower the standard. So apparently, if you a pilot,
You ain't black.
That's funny.